Hi guys, I felt like I should come on and do a little talk about science and psychology, two of my favorite subjects and the things that I majored in school. Um, we saw during COVID times a lot of follow the science, one opinion being shared. Um, Although, the quiet heart of science is curiosity over certainty, listening over dominance, and truth over ego. There were a lot of other opinions from world specialists that came to the forefront that were not allowed. There were medications that were shown to heal people almost immediately with it right away that were not allowed. Um, and then there were even like when we look back, we can hardly believe all that happened, right? All of us, there's no one that can say they thought that was all great. Well, I don't know about no one, but you know what I mean. Um, Science must welcome challenge. It must invite replication, test, retest, allow other ideas to come to the forefront and allow for disagreement and not hide it. And it's supposed to stay curious longer than it stays certain. The moment inquiry is closed by decree rather than evidence, science has stepped outside itself. Now, we saw that happen time and again. How did that happen? Well, I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of psychology. The powers that run our world love to use fear to make us afraid, to make us obey, to make us more compliant. Let's take, for example, the expression conspiracy theorist. That was coined after JFK was murdered, and other opinions came to the front that, it could have been somebody else who had done that. It wasn't allowed. Conspiracy theorist was used as a catch-all phrase so people would stop questioning. It's almost a way of putting shame on anyone that dare question. But let's look back even recently. A lot of things that were called conspiracy theories have come true. The science, one of the basic laws of science is that when we do experiments, we always keep a control group. Every scientist knows that. Even people that have taken first year science in university would know that. Um, this is very true. But during the big experiment that we went through, the control group had to as well. And that does not make sense by scientific standards. Now let's look forward so many years. How are people's health doing? Are they still as healthy? Let's look at perhaps some of those things were not as safe as we thought. Well, why did they get such a turnout? Because the narrative was everywhere. The media controls our perception, our eyes, the visual context is very programmable. It programs us. We have been desensitized to violence. It's shown everywhere, and that can create almost a psychopathic resonance where we just kind of lose our conscience and we don't care so much. This can't be allowed, right? We have to retain our values, our morals, our care. We're living in incredible times, and we have to question everything. If you want to understand how people on the right think, start watching Fox News for a while, just as an experiment. You don't have to believe anything. If you want to understand how people on the left think, start watching MSN or CNN, just as an experiment. You don't have to believe it. What I'm trying to get is that there is more or less one party that change the narratives and get everybody fighting about that. And they do it quite easily. If you watch enough mainstream media, you'll see it. They also use stuff that really makes us feel bad, opens our hearts for these poor suffering people, but they completely close the blinders on other things that we should be seeing. They use catch-all phrases that instill fear. There's a lot of Nobel Prize winning climate scientists now are saying there is no climate change as per what we've been taught. There's definitely serious environmental problems, land, soil, and air pollution being the biggest ones. No question. We need to all care about this and do our bit. But the climate narrative, climate change narrative, perhaps that has been coined so that they can move us into smart cities, take our land, make fake food, take away meat, yada, yada. So we need to look at these narratives. We need to be smart and not buy everything that we hear. And we need to stay open to each other, really love each other. Like, think of how angry you may have been at some of the what we called anti-vaxxers. Many of them probably had had all their vaccinations and were just hesitating on this one because they didn't feel enough science had come forward. But what do? We called them anti-vaxxers. We fired them for their jobs. We put such pressure on them so that many people just felt like, oh my God, I have to. Um, and and it wasn't such a great result. And they've hidden the stats from a lot of those times. None of this is good. Now we're on the edge of closing almost like a digital prison around us by starting to, as soon as they have everything on credit, they've got us. So it doesn't matter if it's all credit cards or digital ID, central bank digital currencies. This digital ID is very concerning. That's another corner of the four corners of the prison. Other corners are the surveillance system, and the last corner is the cell phone. And you put those all together, and they've got us in a pen. We don't want to leave this kind of world for our children. We want to leave freedom. Freedom is everything. So I'm not going to say a whole lot more this time around. You saw me speaking out during the times, and I got a lot of flack for it. At this point in time, I've got a lot going on, and I'm not going to be speaking out because there are a ton of censorship laws coming through, which we have to fight against. Thomas Jefferson said, when tyranny becomes law, dissent is conscience, something like that. I don't have it exactly right. Dissent is the right thing to do, essentially. We can't afford to lose our conscience. We can't afford to lose our values, and we can't afford to be super left or super right. We need to understand what's happened there. Why are we that way? Trauma, when we haven't healed our trauma, we will take that energy and that anger and project it, displace it onto another um, area of challenge. So it could be Gaza, it could be Ukraine, it could be all sorts of things, and get so fueled up we don't see anything else. And because those that are ruling us, and they are essentially rulers, our opinions haven't counted for a long time, because they decide what they want to have come through, um, that is what they build these stories around, these narratives. They wanted central banks to go in Libya and all these places, and then all of a sudden, wars are started. And what are the reasons behind some of the big things we've seen, the big horrible things in recent times? Even these natural catastrophes, sometimes they're nature, other times they might be HARP streaming out of HAARP, look it up, out of Alaska. There is so much technology and weapons, and all this money keeps going into defense. We need to step back from anything that does not bring peace. We need to fight for unity. Actually, not fight. I take that word back. We need to demand unity with nonviolence. We need to love each other. We need to forget, oh, they're left, they're right. Let go of that. Something much bigger is going on here. There's one party, and we're not in that club. As one of our favorite comedians who's now passed was one of the first to speak to us about this. So, anyway, this is probably the most important talk I've ever given. And I'm just going to leave it there while I have a chance. But watch out for this weaponization of psychopathy, making us not care about one or the other. Turn off the screens, get into nature, do some yoga, do some meditation, do some breath work, do eat well, put down the substances, face it. It's the running away and the distracting that's going to hurt us most because you are so beautiful. If you knew how beautiful you truly were, you would fall at your own feet. You are a child of the universe. You can do so much, and our precious children need you, need me, need all of us. So that's it for now. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope you'll think about some of the things I've said, and maybe it'll open your eyes a little bit.